All right, guys, before we get started on our last step for Coptic binding, I want to show you what a finished Coptic bound book looks like. So I don't know if you can see this, but if you can see that it's just a really nice series of knots. Okay? Awesome. Okay, so on Tuesday during class, you guys finished your covers, right? And your book block. So you've got your holes in your book block and you've got your covers. Now, what I did was I decided to use blank book board so you can see very clearly what I'm doing, okay? So what you're gonna do is take your first book board, all right, and you're gonna measure about a 1/2 inch in. Now, what I would suggest doing is, at least for your dummy, you're gonna make a very light pencil mark. I've made a ballpoint pen mark here so that you can see exactly what I've done. Once you do that, then you're gonna take your stitching template and line it up to the line, right? And you're gonna take your awl and put your holes in. Don't forget you're gonna use your corrugated cardboard underneath, all right? Once you've done that, then you're gonna take your second board and put them so that the inside faces each other, and you're gonna poke the other board through the holes on the first board, all right? After that, usually what I do is I pick it up and I run my awl through to the wider portion of the awl so that the hole gets a little bit bigger so my needle fits through it. Okay? Great. So the way Coptic binding works is that you basically work from the back forward. So we're going to take our board, our first board, and take our first signature, make sure the holes line up. Then you're going to take your needle, and you can use any color thread that you want. It's the wax thread, so you just need enough thread to bind the whole book if possible, okay? The way that I figure that is, and I think I taught you this before, but you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many signatures you're going to add a length of thread, and then I add a couple on for comfort, okay? My thread has a knot on the end of it. I don't know if you can see that, just a simple knot, right? This is wax thread, so the knot will stay just fine. And starting from the inside, I'm gonna run my needle through. Just like that. Then I'm gonna close the book and pick it up so you can see your holes are there. You're gonna take your needle and run it through the hole. Just like this. Okay? Great. So then I'm gonna pull that tight and I'm gonna go around the stitch. So this might be a little complicated, but you can see the thread is coming out of one side. I'm gonna go in, pull it through, and bring it back around to the front again. So basically, what you should see is this, and then you just bring it right back around to the front again. You're gonna pull it a little tight, but not too tight. Okay? Then you're gonna take the needle and go back through the hole so that the needle ends up on the inside of your book. Try not to make a second hole. Also try not to pick up the knot if you can. That can be a little tricky. Okay, once I'm in, I'm gonna pull it snug. Now I don't wanna pull it left or right, just pull it straight up, right? You don't have to pull it super, super hard, all right? I'm gonna go down to the next hole. Pull it tight, close it. Okay, I'm gonna go back through the back cover. Remember that I have to go not through the hole, but in between. Okay. And pull it tight, and then I'm going to go around. So I'm going to take this and pick this up. I'm going around the stitch, just like that. Pull it down, pull it a little tight, and bring the needle back out through the other side. So I'm going to come back out with the needle. And then pull it tight. Usually when I pull it, I kind of rock it back and forth because it's waxed, it'll stay. So that's what you should see right now. Okay. Now I'm ready to start the next one. You notice, however, that I didn't go back through the hole because you can't pick up the next signature if your needle is inside your book. It has to be outside. I grab my next signature. I'm lining up my holes. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go in through the first hole again. Just like that. Down to the second hole. Again, you can have 2 holes, 10 holes. It's really going to be up to you. 2 holes for the book that you're actually going to make is probably not going to be enough. I would suggest at least 4 or 5. So what you should see is this. Now this gets a little easier because all I have to do is go back through the previous signature, pull it, just like that. Now remember, I don't go back through this hole because I had to add my last signature. Now I've only done 3 just for expeditious purposes. Okay, I'm gonna add my last signature. Now this is a little bit different than they show you in the Coptic video because I felt like it was a little bit more complicated than what I tend to do. Okay, I'm gonna go back into the center. Or we're getting to the different part when we attach the covers. Okay, so I'm about to finish attaching my last signature, my last content page, so to speak. Okay, just so you can see, I'm going to go through these 2. You can see the loop. I'm going to pull that loop tight. Nice and tight, okay? So you can see the knots that are formed, right? I hope. Okay, so now the last thing I have to do is put the cover on. So here's my cover. I'm going to go up through the top. Just like that. Get my stitch lined up with the rest of them. I'm going to go back through the cover between the cover and the last signature, just like this. Hopefully you can see it. So I'm going to go through this, just like this. Okay. If you open it up, you'll see it. Basically what you're doing is making a loop. I'm going to loop that around, bring it back out. Pull it tight. Now I want to go through the previous hole. So what's going to happen is that your last signature is going to have a double thread in the center, but it's hardly noticeable. And I think it makes life a little easier for everyone. So I'm going to go through this hole and out. Again, I'm always making sure things are nice and tidy. I'm straightening the book back up. Okay. We're going to go up in through the top, just like this. Okay, you've got a loop, right? Now we're going to take the needle and go around the loop, just like this. I don't know if you can see what this looks like. I hope you can. Go around the loop and around back out to the front. Right, and then obviously you're going to have to, you hold your book block and pull it tight, pull it tight, pull it tight until it tightens. Now you don't want to go back through the book again. You're going to tie it off. And the way that I do that is I just go to the previous signature, just like this. Got to be careful not to take your thread out of your needle, which I just did. Okay, so I'm going back through the signature, right? I'm going to do it just one more time, very lightly. You don't have to do it twice. I'll go down to the next one. Pull it so I have a little loop. Now with this loop, I'll just put the needle through it and tie it. Just like that. And then I just go back and forth to tighten it off. And the last thing I'm going to do is cut my thread off. I usually just leave a little tail, just like that. Then sometimes what you can do, if you don't like the tail, because you don't want to cut it right on the end of the thread or else it'll fray. You can, if you have enough thread, which I hardly ever do, you can tuck it in a little bit, which I don't think I have enough thread to do that right now. You can tuck it in or just leave it be, which I'm going to do because I didn't make it really long. I'll just twist it up. Just like that. And that is a Coptic binding. All right, get ready. We're going to do it on Thursday, guys.